يا جاب سودان يا قوانا شدلكم بلد فيهم مشاكل قلب 200 درجة 200 درجة قلب 200 درجة يا جاب سودان يا قوانا شدلكم بلد فيهم مشاكل قلب 200 درجة 200 درجة قلب 200 درجة عشانكم يا سودان شد لكم يا جماعة شد لكم يا جماعة ربنا بيساعد أنا بكيد عشانكم يا سودان شد لكم يا جماعة شد لكم يا جماعة ربنا بيساعد
Basement.
Thank you so much, the viewer. I will be speaking in English for the most part, and then I will also conclude my message in Nuer for the newer speaker people. My message will be very brief. It will be very brief. It will actually go to people who can take it to heart, who can take it seriously, and put it to work. My name is Gatluak Thach. I am a community activist, also an adjunct professor who teach leadership and organizational development. I am on a board of number of human rights organizations. I support and advocate for refugees and displacing people all over the world. I am a former refugee from a country called South Sudan. Now, South Sudan used to be Sudan. I'm here in America. I'm taking this message to you, the listener. And if there are people who can really wanted to hear the message that I'm going to share, I would like for you to give me a support by sharing it with them. I am here to condemn the government of South Sudan for the ongoing genocide in the area called Nasir and Wulang and County of Upper Nile. People of Wulang and Nasir have had some issues that they raised to the government of South Sudan, especially those in Nasir. For those of you who do not really know where Nasir is and what this genocide is all about, Nasir is a county in the east and south and the eastern part of the Upper Nile, Nasir and Wulang. South Sudan got independent in 2011 because you all may have heard that Sudan has been in war for a number of years. So 1955, before the independence of Sudan, people of South Sudan fought the regime in Khartoum, Sudan. Then in 2005, the United States of America and other international organizations worked together to bring about peace in South Sudan, in Sudan. They signed a comprehensive peace agreement in 2005. That was the project of the U.S. government and U.S. people, the United States people. That project allowed the people of South Sudan to have an autonomy for at least 6 years. And then after the 6 years, they were decided whether they will continue to be a part of Sudan or they will have their own country. Because for them living with Sudan, the people of South Sudan did not have the opportunity to live like any other citizen of the country. There was no development in South Sudan. People of South Sudan feel humiliated. They will feel marginalized. So with that, they wanted to have their own nation where they can build themselves and become like anybody else. That was made possible. Through war, the people of South Sudan did not win the war. We fought the war, but we did not win the war. But through peace, the people of South Sudan had an opportunity to vote in 2011, and with more than 90% decided to have a country called South Sudan. And South Sudan became a nation in 2011, on July 11, 2011. Now, what happened? Before long, in 2013, the regime itself, through their own political issues within the party called SPLM, disagree, quarrel among themselves, and went to war. They went to war, and instead of fighting the war among their political leader, they decided to genocide, to create a tribal war. In fact, the story is long. I cannot go through all of this, but I want to point out some few things. People of the North tribe were genocided in Juba by a significant number. 20,000 of them were killed, were murdered in the country, in the capital city. That was 2013. And then the people of South Sudan went to war among themselves, which placed Nuer pretty much against anyone else. It was Nuer was Denka, and then the regime decided to bring people outside of South Sudan. Went and bought Ugandans, came as mercenaries, fought the war, and others also joined. This war killed more than 400,000 people, according to UN data. But I think that also underestimates the number of the people who actually died through that war. In 2018, a peace was signed. A peace was signed which should actually allow the people of South Sudan to reconcile, to forgive one another, and to move on. There were provisions in those peace agreements which could have allowed the people of South Sudan to address the humanitarian aspect of it, address the legal aspect of it, address the accountability for those who commit crime. And of course, they written the documents that would give the country of South Sudan. But none of this were put in place. Nothing changed. And especially for the areas like Nasir and Wulang and some other area in South Sudan, there was no peace. The government in Juba had a group of soldiers that were placed in town of Nasir. This army were there in South Sudan for more than 10 years. The government did not provide them their salary. But instead of building the relationship with the local, the army that was placed in Nasir decided to use force to kidnap whatever they have, rape women, took all the livestock of the local, and also killed even the older people. The situation was not good. The locals reported to the government, to the regime in Juba, that you guys can change these people with a different group of people. Of course, they were to be changed and brought the people who were supposed to be unified, because in the agreement that was signed in 2018, there was supposed to be a joint forces, which should also have some local in that mix soldiers. But this did not happen. And because it did not happen, the war, the relationship between these forces and the local did not go well. And every month, there is also a crisis. All in all, instead of government respond to the need of the local, they decided to come and disarm the local or force local to bring other group of people who had in the past fought with the local. And then the relationship did not go well. And then they fought. Early this month, the government forces were dislodged from Nasir town. Now, the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, responds and spoke on the national television calling for calm, and also told people that he's not going to take the country back to the war, which would have been reasonable for a person who really wanted to be a leader. At the same time, he went on and invited Ugandans army to South Sudan, because Number one, Ugandan army had to come for two things. Number one, Ugandan will come and provide logistics to the army of South Sudan. Remember, South Sudan was placed under the arm embargo because South Sudan was using its resources to buy weapons to kill its own people, while UNs and all other agencies were providing support for people of South Sudan for many, many years. And because they were not able to bring about peace, then South Sudan were put under the arm embargo. The US sanctioned it, the UN sanctioned it, and all reasonable country also sanctioned South Sudan not to bring weapon. But Uganda, through Uganda, South Sudan can have access to the weapon. And the better way to do it is to invite Ugandan so that they can have access to the weapon that they need. To do what with those weapons? To come and genocide their own people. And instead of bringing to an end the suffering and giving to his word, the president now order his forces to go to those counties for the mission that is only known to himself. And as we speak, the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir Mayardit, had already shut down the network in Wulang and Nasir County. So whatever took place in Wulang and Nasir County, the whole world will not know about it. And already deployed an unbelievable number of the army to go to those counties. Now, those who fought and fought with the government, they not just wanted to fight for the government of South Sudan. Of course, majority of them, all of them were civilian. The civilian cannot fight the war with government, leave alone a government that was well equipped with gunship, number of weapons that civilian cannot tolerate. But they gave themselves because they wanted to protect themselves. And I wanted to thank Kang JJ and Kong for talking about what they believe we, the people of South Sudan, had give our life for. That was the reason they fought the war. No one would want to fight their own government if the government was supposed to be protecting you, and instead of fighting with you. Now the Ugandan have come to South Sudan, are paid between $250 per day to $500 per day. Dollars. While the South Sudan Defense Forces are with nothing. Some of them had years with no salary. They had to go to collect wood. Some of them had to go to fish. Some of them had to go and rape people for them to find any means for themselves, leave alone their family. Now he wanted to do it by engineering the tribe. So this war has to be between Denka and Nuer, or Nuer, but Chuluk and Dinka. And there are Denkas who actually believe this war is between Nuer and Dinka. Or some Nuer too who actually believe that. But really this is about someone who doesn't have a heart and mind for the people of South Sudan. The incidents that took place in Nasir, if it were a nation that is led by a leader, could have been prevented. It could have not even happened. It was the easy issues that could have been handled with not even a single blood. But where are we now? So deploying Ugandans to back up the regimes to go and kill your own people, genocide Nuer in Nasir and Wulang, will not bring an end to the suffering of people of South Sudan. In fact, humans are not going to be finished. Remember, Nasir were under colonized before, but it was liberated. Nasir could also be captured today or tomorrow, but that would not be the end of it, end of the problem. And the cycle of killing like this will continue. Until when? For your information, South Sudanese are displaced to Uganda in a significant number. They are displaced to Kenya in a significant number. They are displaced to Ethiopia in a significant number, even in Sudan. Right now, as we speak, we have more than 5 million South Sudanese outside the country. They are being displaced. Imagine that countries. And according to the report, the UN report, 92% of the South Sudanese are actually now defending on the UN aid. And for your information, the UN aid was not continuous. Because the largest donor, the United States, has pulled out to support the US aid. So then all the other countries, even if they try to step up, it will not help. So our people will continue to suffer. Like we have seen refugees in Kenya, in Kakuma, demonstrated because they have not been giving the ration. They have no food, they have no water, they have not other means for survival. Those people are not only Nuer, those people are all tribes in South Sudan. It happened the same thing in Ethiopia, and it's actually going to continue to happen now when the refugees come in Ethiopia. It is also happening in Uganda as well. It happened in Sudan. You've seen the refugees in Sudan had to go for, even those who trying to survive in Sudan with the conflict in Sudan. It is actually difficult. You've seen some Sudanese were killed and shown on television or on videos. So there's no South Sudan, really, to be honest with you. South Sudan's now a nation that cannot bring peace to its own people. A nation that cannot care for its own people. A nation that cannot protect its own people. A nation that cannot solve its own people problems, small problem like this. A nation that cannot listen to what is being told. They cannot be trained. What kind of nation is this? I mean, it's not a country because you have a flag or you have a name or national anthem. Country is more than that. Country is about people and it's for people. If South Sudanese by 92% are depending on other people's ration to survive, then what left for people of South Sudan? What would the 8% do? Now, if you were a South Sudanese and you are not in Ulang, you are not in Nasir, but you heard your children are going to be taken to Ulang and Nasir to genocide your brothers and sisters in that Nasir. Remember, 1989 is when Nasir was liberated from Arab. It killed a number of the people from Nasir, but it also killed a lot of people from the other part of South Sudan. Many South Sudanese who were in Nasir lost their life there. And the intent was that Nasir will be liberated, but the children of the following era will have a future. What is that future now? That could also be true to any other county or state in South Sudan. If the widows are begging or giving themselves for their children to survive, if the orphanage are on the street begging to survive, and if our elderly people are being marginalized and being killed, as they are now, then what kind of country do we have as people of South Sudan? Then why would you be convinced to go and kill your other people for the interest of a few people who have no interest for you? Because even for those who say this government is a Denka government, I don't think so too. Because I don't see besides few of those who have access to loot funding, money, resources in South Sudan, it's not all Denka are actually benefiting from that government. But my question to my brother Denka, why would you allow yourself to go and fight to defend somebody who does not even stand for your dignity and your values? Yes, what happened in Nasir, it would have not been happening in Nasir if we had a leader in South Sudan. People who lost their life in Nasir, their life would have not been lost. And now, with the network being down in Nasir, for Salva to go and order the displacement and genocide in Nasir and Ulang, and none of you, brothers and sisters from other part of South Sudan, are not saying anything, that's bothering me a lot. That bothering me a lot, especially you, the intellectual. Because when we came and advocate for South Sudan, we were united. We testified, we advocate, we contributed, we did everything we could for the government of this country to hear about South Sudan and the suffering of people of South Sudan. The dividends could have been seen, and even if all of us are not benefited for now, some of us could, and our innocent people could enjoy it by just having a peace where they can cultivate for themselves and live as they had chosen. So it is bothering me, and this is why I wanted to come to all of you to, number one, if you have a child sent to Nasir, please call your child back, because there's no government in South Sudan. The government in South Sudan is not there. We have to form the government of South Sudan when time is right. Do not allow your child to go and kill himself or to be killed or to kill his own people. Salva will leave South Sudan one way or another, but the people of South Sudan will remain there. The animosity we have today is created intentionally for someone to remain in power forever. But nothing is forever. All of us believe in God. We know there is always a time. There's time for everything. And this also may come a time for Salva Kiir to not continue creating a suffering for people of South Sudan. I think if you are a South Sudanese, this message is for you. If you can do only one thing, this one thing would be call your relative, wherever they are, who are being deployed to Nasir, to find a way to get them fell out. Don't go to Nasir or Ulang. There is a looming genocide, like more than what happened in 2013. But do you see that will end? It will end in Nasir? It will not end in Nasir. This will probably lead people of South Sudan to disintegrate it, to peace. We might disintegrate it to regions. We might disintegrate it to tribal segment. Even some tribes will not even live together. We might end up living like clan by clans. Even some clan will not even live together. Is that what we want? That's not what we want. That's not what we want. But we are cursed. We're cursed because the nation is cursed with leaders. If we are heartless leaders who do not care for people, who do not have a vision for people, who do not have a program for people, who do not know what they do, then people will suffer. Because they will fear everybody. They will not do anything for you. They will not want to help you to be anything. They will continue to allow you to kill one another. These are the people we have now in South Sudan. These are the leaders we have in South Sudan. Now, for Salva Kiir to look for successor and choosing his own son-in-law to be the future leader in South Sudan. And we all know the story of Bullmel, Dr. Bullmel. Dr. Bullmel, I have never gone to South Sudan since they're independent, but I have all the information of what is going on in South Sudan. Dr. Bullmel is behind every dirty role that is being played in South Sudan. He took all the resources in South Sudan. According to the report, he might even have more than 400 million, even richer than Elon Musk. And where does he get all this money? Where does he get all this money? Where are these monies are being used? Where are these money are being put in place? Are this money for intent to help people of South Sudan? Imagine paying, let's say you're paying $200 a day for a Ugandan army. Some of them came in 2024, and some of them have just come now. Assume that they were only 5,000 people. And some people are talking about 7,000 or whatever have you. And let's just say the basic math, 5,000 people. How much is $200 times 5,000 people out of the administrative costs that goes directly to Museveni and his own people? You'll be talking about $1.4 million a day. And then in a month, how much is that? Do your basic math. How much would that money do to bring about peace in South Sudan? How much this money would do to create jobs, to create a great health care for people of South Sudan, create the road to bring about peace. Even the disarmament they were talking about, if they were smart, disarmament could be done in South Sudan without killing a blood, sharing the blood of anybody in South Sudan. Because it could be done smartly. Create job for them, for the young people. Okay, give them some vocational role to play. All of them would want to be professional. Some of them, some of the white army, they are professional. Some of them are master's degree holder, bachelor degree holder. Some of them are medical doctor. They just happen to go and protect their own family. They're not just civilian. They're civilians who are educated. And if you really have job for them, why would they choose to go and give their life up when they have a lot to give to people of South Sudan? These people, they are not only a future of people of Nasir or Ulang or Nuer community. They are the product of South Sudan in general. And the children who are also coming to fight them, they are also future of South Sudan. But who cares? The leadership doesn't care. I am saying this to you all, that genocide is being carried now to Nasir. People of Nasir will stand their ground, but they cannot fight forces that are being brought to them if they do not have the help of the people of South Sudan. They cannot fight that alone, people of Nasir and Ulang. But genocide in Nasir will not end in Nasir, just for your information. It will take our country back to almost a time that none of us was alive. And we may end up losing the country altogether. It might happen. People lost things that they own when they misuse them. We might think we have the nation now, a sovereign nation. Well, no, we're not a sovereign nation when 92% of our population is being served by somebody else. We're not a sovereign nation when our protection is not provided by our people. We're not a sovereign nation when genociding ourselves. We're not. You are a sovereign nation when you are taking the charge to show the leadership for your people. You can never be a sovereign nation when you do not do what you're supposed to be doing. So all of you, whether you are a Dinka, and Nuer from the other county, or you are other South Sudanese, this looming war in Nasir could have been prevented. God did his part for a little bit, but God always protects or assist people who can assist themselves. I cannot have any better word to put it than saying, if we don't do this, we will mess this up, all of us together. And we all will be losers, because we might end up losing the country. Because a genocide, remember, a genocide in one country, genocide in one area, will not end in that one area. It will go to all areas in South Sudan. Ugandan or Darfurians have been from, whatever group or any other group that comes will not solve the problem in South Sudan. Our problem in South Sudan will be solved by people of South Sudan. If we don't solve it, we will destroy it. And that is what is happening. So my message to you all is, let's do whatever we could. And for our international body, South Sudan is going through a critical movement at the time. We need your help. We need you to do whatever you could. We have a leader who doesn't listen. We have a leader who doesn't support his people, who support war and divisions among the people of the country. But we had the South Sudan because of international support. We did not win it through war. We fought war since 1955. Many of us were not alive. But in 2005, when the international body decided to stand with us, we had secured our independence through your support in 2011 because of the peace in 2005. We want you again now to come and rescue our people in Wulang and Nasir. They are being genocided. And we want you to talk to the genocider. If they cannot stop what they are doing, hey, maybe we are not ready to be alone. Maybe we are not ready to lead ourselves. And anything that serves people's life, we will accept it. Anything that will serve our people's life, we will accept it. We don't have a country when we are killing ourselves. We don't have a country when we cannot bring peace to ourselves. We don't have a country when we cannot support one another. And especially when we are killing civilians. Children, women, elderly, and the future of our nation. No. South Sudan is blessed with extraordinary support of resources. It has all the God-given resources. We just do not have leadership. We would be the richest country in the world. We would develop like any other country, that no other country to compare with. But our resources are misused. They are being taken outside the countries. They are being used to kill ourselves. We have refugees who are now depending on other nations when they can actually have the evidence of these resources. We have children who are now living with no education. We have young people who do not have access to anything. They don't have access to education. They don't have access to employment. They don't have access to anything. They have education that they cannot be put to use. We have resources that have been taken to other parts of the country that are used by our neighbor or outside the African, just for the benefit of the few. Maybe if we cannot rule ourselves, we might need education, might need some help somewhere. Maybe we need yours. Maybe we need you. We need you to come and help us. Our appeal is, please serve the life of our people that are now being genocided. We cannot say anything enough. They know we cannot access to them now with no internet. Nasir and Wulang, where no forces are being sent to them. Selfa will call for peace, already deployed army. is not predictable. It's unpredictable. He will say this and do the others. He's not a leader. He's not a leader that can be trusted for what he says. It's not a leader that can actually do what is needed to support the people of South Sudan. But again, people of Nasir will do everything to protect their home. They'll do what they could to protect their home. They will not give up to their givings land, their grandfather land. Peter Wulang will not. And we will waiting for you to say anything that you could say. Thank you so much for continuing to supporting us. I want to switch now and want to say a few things in Nuer for Nuer speaker. And Rajame and Ramakan Churanga Chalagalota. Rajama Lada Jake Kui Kor Nang Kanather. Lada Kui Kor Nang Kanather, a quar in sulfur. Nather Dongchian and Mikanin Ling. Nather Chakarab Nike. Can a Wulang, Chakarab Niken. Chake Nang. I mean, cha network bien cha Nang. Kina Ragake. Can now get a phone. The Changai already. And which I did, Chajak. Yana Jack to work at winning again. Quidun Yan Quide, especially in Warren Cocaine. Or Tenny Latte or Shinadin in Kid. Yes, Shinadin in Kid. Good day. They were supposed to order your gun. They we do. Cocha tell a middle dim Gorian. Here they in Kid. Men non Corgan Arthur. A war Nick 2015. Maybe they come Benkan Arthur. There's our waking Arthur and one done. Kataka bang, tell a midjakan a cucumber sulfur. La Kenny Jen, bigger enemy chicken jugger, becano come a book and a bomb. Cha de lad, cha hog lad, cha bell ladber. Chicken Jen, one year capping, caping a man. And my kicker man to the choke. And I check a joker, like choke a joker, it got a check to my reader, here got that. A banana nagabom. Kayo si wala dia bejabar. Namo chalat kanather. A jen non kori. Jenathan sugar lonely day kum. Look in it and jeer. Codage and non kanather, a ding me charelaka, but Jenathan ever mention a jeer. A donkey talk, gotten cocaine. But take a much talk, a Jenathan. A jen non kor. Jenathan which a can allow no danger machine a language. Jin kume nang de mo. De je cha la te mal me cha la. Dong de mi jike ko gol. Te cha jike dia cha mat kwa kel. Dong sik bla ji dol kel. Ye kana la ran me che ran mo. Kan jin as dia chicken dia ji ayu for your information. Ke jola. Ta pa de ne ko ken dia te gese. But ke jiwe. Gor ken go rama bi bena ba ka respect. Chen yin ken bu bangor. No we belim ni jen. Ba come with them, Mr. Micham. You can dig a migrate, dig a poor bell, Mr. Lemedin Malakan. But chicken man up. Michigan yen out there capping, chicken man out, chicken with that kind of bomb. My manana. I take a couple of in my money did. Caro, chicken java knock a culture nowhere. A general non corker canather. Make all our you can look. Can come and Mitchell Lade Rajamotel Malade. You are not an answer to Umbella. Can you omit me to talk, a win cocaine? La nene mane quarter sulfur, la order the sobe and the malel ken. Ya ok nang yang ok te nang agatunya, Dorian sulfur. She kumi jogi, she dejin a quarter and with yogo, ok the anang to polkare, which you can look at job. Now hawk. Can I reach a nut, they didn't know which are a lojo. Then the cock a munping, then the come the guard, which are a millile quidin. A wokumu. And no more a general can answer. Kayan Chiamanaco Queen. She woke in a team when you go come away. But come a logo dog, could you not say, look at your kitchen another girl. Come a talk another, I can hold long. She have a peck another, I can hold long. But walk a door condial, a young te would more. I tell me, I didn't know call. But I caught terror, the cold for. The genasa, I can walk or can hold long, can walk all cum. I'll cover manana, a cup, Tagapal, a yatani and Jalo, nigga jubit. She got on your gen as we speak. She did your lunch and you end quad. She did long, maybe call can answer. They jam about support and any corner no Uganda. Any no Uganda. Kedij me rape kini deje take Uganda. Mechi ben mika near 2024. Me take a lure. Taya deje den chanyo ko no. And deje mo me be ko no ko makal. Kada me be chang ni jube be ko ngai. But deje take jube che gore be no ko makal ko be no ko wala. Be ko mate. Me be tema ba support ke ne to ba ko support ke airspace ke ne o ba ko no logistics ammunition la ma kana day. Code ba code man ter ko ulang and Nasir ko ken right telfa ken link cha maniken chicken de la kan de maniken chicken de la kan ge manken chicken de la kan ke nyin ken ga bom me chicken na malat cha to kana mo me cha lan me dan during the lab ko role me lab kon let kon liberation me cha la de mission na more ga ja ka ngade ka me ala de ken ka bil farm ka dorong ni te te kan kon te me man to ko po 1985 kana ter ka me yaw la mission mo ko ko kane ka e logo kana ter ala change ka go mi sa ran chen je chen ra ma te di la ra to karan la ter ni chon che men tar ga jina ter kana wulang a chon den a chen bi na palke en che ma ne ken ko ken ba nang che mo ru kun ka me la chon den en ka man raja la de ye ego ne titi bakke ko be ne kon be kana bena de kon rewlat number 1 di roi ka gadu se generally tin talat ka gan no a ken no ko ro be no bena ba mane no mo o be no ba be no ko ken bena ka me ngai ka tare na mo cha go jiran ni se laran ma lat ka me je ka ngu bla ro je ko jire ta Katek kwe guade long. Dini men balo lat ka kwidu jira. Men balo lat ka kwidu jen dini jen. Tek je di. E di long. Wen ti tega nteme. Sibe me dong la. Bugwacho buko bije. Te tel ki jitabo. Te gwatin buko di ke jak. Kate te jitabo de gwatin buko de ke tel. Alamen dini jang e tega e legacy du jira. Alaan me lat ka mi jek. Lat je ka chie mora. Ke lat je jido arun. Chu no. Chang be ja bia chang chu no chang ba ja bia chang kama lat ka ram je ran me lat ka ran ka mi je ka ti sin chang che ram ma yin chung ne ga ja ram ke ko no mo a humanity a chiang ko lok ram te long ram te ka long alamen tu to daran cheta me cha na ter ke no lang cha khara be ne kin cha network ni ken telephone ni ken internet ni ken jaga alo ba ga banang mut karun wa nang mut wo to ka ne to next nga because lim no be no kon to ki ai na jin me lenge to ko ra ga shu aji cha lun ke be ben yi na ne kun shu no gorwe me bi chitatin shu be lok ame bi wo de je na de bo tek bo ko gwa do den ka bo gwa ben bo ko ku na me che ba dong tin bo gwa ben bo ko dong bi ding ni to do mo de lo nyo jak ana mo e wo de ne rew de wo yen chi ma na ko ken na mo wi na en ke ye ana ra na ther an ganyal ko ana ganyal ko cha ni mal kwen ka ben tu cha kwen ka mai wut da mal kwen mai wut so ntame che mare la yu du dwara ba ga mutip ka cha go yen che man ko dia la to me chen be la re en welcome le mujira but le ne ma di la do ko bi no mo bi ga am go no contribution kiji ka na me ne go mo le ne ko wajika kama ci la re wajo jan ba lo remember kiji Uganda tichi ben wich bigger resource kon benang ko ba ne kon benak ya go che mana kon du le batin ba ne kon benak be ken ga benak bang ka kwiram kel du to ma belat ka kon tele mi cha ka South Sudan kor tog ya daran wai tog ya daran alla dung mit tele corridor nan to content tele border to control bun tele mo chala South Sudan alla kun toge daran kamet bo ajalla ka ngok jo wala na me hen ka my appeal ka yendial e o mo le ro de chogo wene ko aro kabisho mo chala kabchong South Sudan mo gor kono bane tim kwane tim ne ni dorin amana mi ci gwala wo chop ko bana yo loy wi ko jana nana ci to ngi ko jana sa pom dor kel bo wo dorin do dinu run amana wo kon tu kon dia rajdan me la ne ye indial ko wonna me chable ngi Nasir ko tele network ke but bialing indi akoba yi ayo bialing yi Unity State bialing yi my wood bialing ka tong noara ka baling Western world kana East Africa alo salfa kir ke larata lo kor ba ke de loin ka Nasir kan ulang ko lo ku lo le lu ka change la ja ta lo kor ke Uganda ni ja ba ga wuci ko ba salfa bangam ko bi ka mai kana dai bi kana no an wono wujo mai kana dai wujo mutokor Uganda ni ba ga ma pe ga yo do wan yo South Sudan yo yo la ka de dan da chuni could they dance along a unified go to the resources to quack a unify again? Chamale a tanbo, along a lip. Co Malba, Mr. Long de Malba, that I dug a guaba. She had a deco, nothing naggy. Enter right along, Kachana go right along, but Larry you a never concha never took on bidder. And a Madrid ladder, Kadiri ladder, Lanier. The right win the tongue linen, but part of me. Lada ye kini ni kon tung noa, and wo ek dan a me be sol kon. Dan the tin ko bana sol. Nyo the no be junu be dakpin. Talamit ba cholo junu be do nan kondial. Go to kondial. They chang kondial. Kade roi kondial bo. Te dung ram kel. Talamit de malar junu be me dunda. Junu cha gor ka mach. Chaba goru ka galam. Se kone ni benu Western world. Chaka iban goru ka galam. Yung talo ya bena wane. Talo me de America me nga yukwide. Ka cha ter wich. A de wan ni garunu yuwa. Cha ter kwan dono kon. Cha ter kwan kon. Se kon bete tinbo. Ka cha na iban goru ka galam. Wala me te rame bakaj ye du na kora. Kaje ne kaj. Ka me chaba laren teme. Chaba laren teme. Ba kon tuk. Ba duran. Koran. La ladman ngazi ka ngaji to en ba chong no chen bo long la na yo ko be yo gang ne ke mi che jana no chong ne kel kon dia kwata mal